Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm playing host tonight. And I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. David Tucker. Mr. David Tucker, welcome to yet another episode of
Thank you, Derek.
I'm going to agree with you on the role of the media in pushing for debate.
They're kind of snuck it in there, desperate oriented. Is that being desperate to aspire to greatness?
To say to us right now, everybody gets skeleton in their closet.
The junior of their office.
Who's supposed to determine whether
they are competent? You can't tell me all
Of all the shows that we have done, Mr. We are just one tonight, you're on the opposite side.
What is the patriotic thing in you being Liberian?
30 seconds.
We don't simply audit for the heck of auditing. You audit, and where the evidence leads, you follow.
Liberian politics is a type of politics.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And if it's your first time joining us, let me say welcome to all of you. The Liberia Radio and Television Network, or LRTN, is a media institution based right here in Northeast Philadelphia. It will also operate from our office in Liberia as well. LRT Internet is proud to present episode 10 of season 5 of The Hard Zone. And again, if it's your first time being here, The Hard Zone is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political ideologies, and persuasions. In this episode tonight, we'll focus on issues surrounding Liberian politics and also some issues in the diaspora. With that being said, my name is Derek Yale, and I'm playing host tonight. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. David Ntakwe. Let's go over to Mr. Takwe to see how he's doing. Mr. Takwe, good evening or good morning. How are you doing? You're on mute.
Good evening from Liberia, Derek and others.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us again, Mr. Takwe. And for all of you, before I go any further, let me encourage you, please, to share this program on your individual social media page, and also make sure you're following us at the Liberia Radio and Television Network. This podcast tonight is being streamed on Facebook and YouTube on the Liberia Radio and Television Network official pages on Facebook and YouTube. Just to give you a highlight on what to expect on this episode tonight, we actually choose to follow an open discussion format tonight, where we will talk about a lot of different things in Liberia and maybe some of the things happening in the diaspora. But before we do that, we'll bring you our current event as always, and then we will get into our discussions, and then after that, we will take a break. When we come back, we'll bring you our icebreaker round, and then also ask our panelists for their closing remarks on this episode. Speaking of panelists, we will have our panelists. They're waiting in the back. Join us later on in the show right after the current event. But for now, we have our current event in our current event folder just waiting for you. Before we do that, again, let me encourage all of you watching us to please share this program on your individual social media pages, and also make sure you're following us. With that being said, let me now go over to my co-host, Mr. Takwe, to bring us the current event from the current event folder in Liberia. Mr. Takwe.
Thank you, Derek, and good evening, everyone from Liberia. Derek, President Joseph Boakai took many Liberians by surprise late afternoon when news broke out that he dismissed or sacked a senior official of the National Social Security Corporation, of NASCO. Social Security Corporation, NASCOP, and Madam Kamina Sifos Yeke. Joseph Boakai, according to the executive national statement, President Boakai dismissed Madam Yeke on grounds of disrespect to senior officials of the government or senior members of the ruling United Party. It all started quite recently when some senior partisans or officials of the ruling United Party walked in to introduce one Murphy Cannon, who President Joseph Boakai had appointed to serve in that position to take over, and Madam Yeke turned down that request by the Unity Party partisans on grounds that she did not see such a communication on the executive website. So she couldn't turn over the office to Murphy Cannon, Councilor Murphy Cannon, who had been named by Joseph Boakai to serve in that position of a deputy director of NASCO. The access retrieval committee set up by President Joseph Boakai today issue a firm statement urging those in possession of state properties or state assets to turn them over in a period of 10 days. Anyone in that category who fails to take government assets will face the requisite legal actions by the assets retrieval committee headed by former chairman of the Liberal Anti-Corruption Commission, Councilor Clamontin. There, as you must have heard, discussions now are about the budget. The budget in the tune of 692 or over 692 million dollars. The House of Representatives quite recently submitted the budget to the librarians in the seeking its endorsement. Then for turn over to the executive nation. But what many are talking about mainly is about the reduction in the budget of some key ministries or offices of senior officials in government. For example, in the budget or in the national budget, the budget of the vice president is reduced. It's split into two. If the budget were 400,000, it's reduced to 200,000, for example. The budget of the speaker, the office of the speaker, they also split into half. Ministry agencies or sectors that receive giant shares of the national budget, of the proposed national budget, agriculture, education, health, and others. They received giant shares of the national budget. So many Liberians, perhaps also in the United States, not necessarily in Liberia alone, are commending the broadcast government for such an action to have reduced the budgets of these offices of senior officials of the government, including the vice president, even the president himself, and the speaker, the pro tem of the Liberian Senate, all of them budgets have been reduced or split into two. Direct Information Minister Jeremy Pia today took journalists on a guided tour of the ministry or the building housing the Ministry of Information, Culture and Tourism. The intent was to show to the public the conditions under which employees of the Ministry of Information are working. Very dirty bathroom, no water, electricity is not stable. Most employees of the visitors usually use the back of the building to urinate. From the look of the building, it appears that it has not been painted for several years. There's a lot of grass in the yard of the ministry. You remember during his confirmation hearing at the Liberian Senate, the Information Minister Jeremy Pia referred to or described the building or the yard of the building as a desert, meaning that he took over the ministry without anything at all to work with: computers, television sets, probably furniture, and others were made away with allegedly by ex-officials of that ministry. Talking about officials of ministry or the information ministry walking away with assets of the government that do not belong to them, similar reports have come from other ministries and agencies of the government where former officials left the ministries and walk away or took after that were assigned to as officials in government. And as many of them were going out, they allegedly took those assets. Because President Joseph Boakai has campaigned on the mantra of transparency and accountability, he has set up the Assets Retrieval Committee, or whatever the name is, to go after those who are illegally or unauthorizedly in possession of government's properties. And Derek, those are the developments so far. Those are the developments so far in Liberia. Another news I should tell you, Derek, I'm sorry, before I take leave of you, Derek, is about the recent stringent decision that was taken by Foreign Minister Sarah Nyanti, asking all officials of the government or former officials of the government or anyone legally or illegally in possession of Liberia diplomatic passports should turn them in. Because according to the foreign minister, the Liberian diplomatic passports are in the hands of criminals. And she said, because of that, senior officials of government traveling across the world are always inconvenienced whenever they see a Liberian diplomatic passport. Because as far as those authorities in those countries or as those efforts are concerned, Liberian diplomatic passports have been used by foreigners, some of them hardcore criminals. So all those in possession of Liberian diplomatic passports return the name. And a deadline is given. And if you don't turn in your diplomatic passport at the expiration date, that passport will automatically become invalidary. Those are the developments in Liberia. And what are the developments in the diaspora there?
Thank you very much, David, as always, for that splendid reporting on the current event coming out of Liberia. Before we transition to our current event from the diaspora, let me encourage all of you watching us to please share this program. Again, just as a reminder, you're watching season 5, episode 10 of the Hard Zone. And as you know, it's an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions and different political persuasions. And just by way of disclaimer, very shortly, we'll introduce our panelists for this episode. And by way of disclaimer, all of the positions and opinions that will be offered here tonight on this episode is not the official position of the network, but that of the official position of the panelists that will be offering them. Now, we have two developmental highlights from our current event folder in the diaspora, and both of them are based right in Africa. We'll begin with South Sudan. And just this week, all schools were ordered to be closed in South Sudan as they prepare for a heat wave in which the temperature reached an exceptional 45 degrees Celsius or 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Authorities then said that children should stay indoor and that the extreme weather could last for at least 2 weeks. Deaths related to excessive heat have already been reported, officials said on Saturday. Residents in parts of the capital, Juba, sweltered through without electric fans on Monday as the heat sparks power cut. The streets of Juba, home to more than 400,000 people, were largely quiet in the afternoon as local media reported temperatures of 41 degrees Celsius and also or 106 degrees Fahrenheit. For more on this development, visit the BBC webpage and you will get more information on that development. Now, moving on to another development, right in neighboring Gambia, Banjul, Gambia. Gambia National Assembly this week voted to advance a bill that will overturn a ban on female genital cutting, putting Gambia, the West African country, on a path to being the first nation in the world to roll back such a protection. Many of the women who filed into the National Assembly building on Monday to witness the proceedings had experienced the horror that comes with cutting, which has been practiced for generations here. One woman said she was taken by her family at age 8 to a ceremony in which she was pinned down and cut. Another learned on her wedding night that her vagina opening had been sealed. A third experienced years of infections and later infertility after being cut without her parents' permission. The women listed theoretically as members of parliament, the vast majority of them men, pounded their gavels in support as Ahmed Giba, the lawmaker who introduced the bill, described it as intended to uphold religious rights and safeguard cultural norms and values. The ban on cutting, he said, represent a direct violation of citizens' rights to practice their culture. Just to reiterate, in Banjul, Gambia, their National Assembly voted to advance a bill that will overturn a ban on female genital cutting. So again, to get more information on this development, I thought it was very interesting. Visit the Washington Post on their webpage. You will get more information on this development coming out of Gambia. Again, before we go, that's all we have for you in our folder here on the current events in the diaspora. Before we transition over where we'll introduce our panelists for this episode, let me encourage all of you watching us to please share this program on your individual social media pages, and also make sure you're following us and encouraging your friends and family to do the same as well. We have a very intriguing and very interesting episode packed up for you, and so stay tight as we introduce our panelists. And I promise you, this is going to be a very interesting discussion tonight, as we tend to put on an open discussion format for this show. With that being said, I would like to now introduce our panelists for this episode. Very shortly, we will have them on our screen. And as we do, I would like to encourage all of you watching us to please share this program on your social media page, and also make sure you are following us, the LRTN or Liberia Radio and Television Network. We have firstly Prince N. Sharif. Mr. Sharif, welcome to the LRTN family, and also welcome to the Hot Zone.
Thank you so much, my brother David, for giving me the opportunity to serve with you on this particular platform this evening, this afternoon, whatever the time is. And I want to say to the audience, my people in the common Liberian way, your hello. And we are here, to exchange ideas and see how best we can all add our bit and pieces to make Liberia a better place for us and our unborn generation. So we are here, and we will try to do our best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince N. Sharif. I understand it's your debut episode here on the Hot Zone. So again, let me welcome you to the Hot Zone family, and also to, you're not a stranger to the Liberia Radio and Television Network. But again, welcome. It's good having you here. And we will have more panelists as the show progresses, and we will have this conversation, and we will get into our conversation a little on the show if we get more panelists on. But what we usually do here is have a conversation surrounding the current event. But tonight I was told to have the conversation an open forum where we talk about whatever pique your interest in Liberia this week or maybe last week. So again, you listen to my co-host bring the current event from Liberia, and also I brought the current event from the diaspora. So I'll give you the opportunity, whatever one of the current event or something else that pique your interest this week, Mr. Sheriff, I'll give you the opportunity to give your position on that.
All right. So again, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and to the audience, let me just say, welcome to all. And I want to also encourage those who are following us to kindly share on your various, social media handles, because by so doing, it gives others the opportunity to actually participate in this discussion. There are several issues that are trending in Liberia that I have on my plate, but because of time and the space that is given to us, probably we will just look at two. One has to do with I would like to use my own word, the death that was sanctioned by the Unity Party-led government that took place in Grand Cape County. And the second issue has to do with the comment of the EPA boss, Sam Gay, when he was responding to the former president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency President Dr. George Manuel Weah, in which, his statement was very derogatory, where, he spoke on some issues. So these are the two things that for me now we want to talk about. Yeah, so these are the two things on my plate that I will, be diving into. But again, let me just say to the audience, we are on the clock, so it's not easy. So at a certain point in time, if you see that I'm off, I will definitely come back on, because in some areas the network may not be too fine. So I just want to let you know of that. Thank you.
I understand, Mr. Sheriff. You're on what you just said, though. What about that address to the president that really concerned you, because you're picking on that? Is there something about the EPA boss address to the president that really concerned you? Was it sort of disrespectful to the former president? Or what really piqued your interest on that statement?
All right. So the Unity Party folks are alleged that the former president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency President Weah, had requested for about 30 plus EPS officers and agents. That was what they were running with. And we needed to ascertain whether indeed the former president of the Republic of Liberia, did that request. And from all indication, and from what we heard from a very close source to the president, the Honorable Len Eugene Nangwe, appeared on the Freedom FM and said at no point in time there was a written communication from the office of the former president requesting for that number of persons. But in addition, as you may be aware, whenever we have officials of government, there are some privileges that are assigned with them, even while they are out of office. And as such, assigning EPS officers, especially to former president, vice president, it is a custom in our own democracy. It's something that is not unusual. So there were people who were assigned with the president, and looking at his activities, he requested that there was a need, for him to have people around or in his proximity that he is comfortable with, because you can't just have people just coming in that you do not know, that you are not very comfortable with. So he requested that if you signing agents to him, it has to do with his family, it has to do with privacy. So some people that he will be much comfortable with. But again, through the back and forth, the EPS director, Mr. Senge, came up and said that indeed, if the president, the former president, if at all he will not be satisfied with the number of securities that have been provided to him, he can, in a derogatory way, he can employ his own private security. And I think that is something that is worrisome, especially coming from, one of the high officials of government in that particular capacity as, a security, or we will say in our own Liberian way. He is one of the top notch when it comes to the security setting. In America here, maybe we say CIA or FBI or whatever secret service, division it is. To use such a remark, we think that is scary. And also looking at the circumstances that have been taking place, around the former president of the Republic of Liberia, it is something that raises serious eyebrow that has to do with his own safety. One, we was informed that
You like to be specific, Derek, can you be specific about what the circumstances around the president are, the former president are?
Yeah. So we saw some personal agents, some agents that were assigned with the president. We were told and observed that some of them, they were been humiliated by the now EPA boss, bus. One is Mr. Briggs. He was one person who was, subjected to a kind of, one would say, an extra, something that is very strange in our security setting, where he was called to the police station for whatever reason and was detained for hours. That raised a very serious concern. And there were some statements that were also used by the EPS boss, according to our own sources. Statement was used by the EPS boss, referring to Sarah Briggs as somebody who, is very rude, very disrespectful. And for that, he was going to pay for it. And we saw that he had to be placed behind bars, for whatever reason, that at the appropriate time, the office of the former president will be able to respond adequately to and give us all of the information. And we also saw that there was some EPA personnel that was assigned to him that was just, rudely reassigned, and others were sent to him, without his input. And these are some of the circumstances that yes, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but there are a lot of, I've been following this conversations nationally. there are a lot of questions surrounding this conversation what you just mentioned. And I have a couple of questions based on what I've seen on social media or listened to on the airwaves in Liberia. Based on what you said now, you said the former maritime boss, who is in close proximity to the president, made a clarification on radio that the president did not request 30 EPS officer. But then again, you wanted to say that the president did made some type of request that there's need for him to have security around him. I want for you to clarify that, and I have a couple of questions after that. But let me first recognize the presence of Bishop Hagar. Bishop Hagar, welcome to episode 10 and episode 5 of the Hard Zone. And let me give you the opportunity now to introduce yourself to the show.
Well, thank you very much. This is Bishop Hagar, one of the contributors to the Hard Zone. So,
the most controversial.
I'm very excited tonight to be here.
Thank you. And tonight we're following our open.
Whatever way you want to describe my appearance, I will take it that way.
I think you're having. I don't know if it's just me, but I think you're lagging.
Well, I will take it that way. Whatever way we're here, though.
Is it David? Is it just me or Bishop Hagar is like lagging?
Okay, then I have to change the.
Can you hear me?
Well, I have to come back. I gotta use another web browser.
You need to
come back.
You need to look at your audio.
Yes, use Chrome. Use Google Chrome is much better. But while we're waiting for Bishop Hagar, let me come back to you, Mr. Sheriff. Just provide a clarity for our audience. Did the president request security? Because you said a whole lot of things. Let me give you the opportunity to clarify that. The former president.
Yeah, thank you. The former president of the Republic of Liberia, as you may be aware and as expressed by the former maritime boss, had some agents that were assigned with him. And unfortunately, unceremoniously, we saw that some of these agents, they were, recalled by the current EPA boss, something which, led to a dramatic decrease in the number of, security, especially state security around him. So based on that, he felt that, especially the stand I was taking to recall some of these officers around, the president, he felt that it wasn't that right, and there was a need, for them to reassign or to be able to beef up the security presence, around him. So, as usual, former president, even Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the former president of the Republic of Liberia, when you go to Liberia, you will observe that even in some of her areas where she's not, visibly present, but where she has a property and other stuff, they had EPS officers that are assigned there. Some of these properties and some other areas. There are EPS officers, even on her farm, even her resident in Monrovia, there are EPS officers assigned there. So if you just start to, for example, take away this EPS officer, it reduces the strength of the, the security around her and maybe at a property. So at the end of the day, I'm sure, she will be able to request that, look, there is a need for us to beef up the security around me. May not necessarily be 30% or 40% as, alleged by some, surrogates of the Unity Party, but just to beef up the strength. So it was based on that I want to believe that particular, request was made, that there is a need to beef up the security strength around it. But again, because
Derek, by some information. This is the information minister spoke on that last Tuesday, early this week, regarding what is considered to be President Weah's request. Whether he requested or he did not request, it still remains unclear because people are still challenging the information minister to give the source of the information that President Weah requested 38 EPS officers. But this is the thing, according to the information, they assign some EPS officers to President Weah, former President Weah, and President Weah said that he was not comfortable with some of the EPS officers because he did not know them. So that's how I understand they were recalled because President Weah said you were not feeling comfortable with them, according to the information minister at a recent press conference that was carried live on the state broadcaster, Liberia broadcasting system. That President Weah said you are not feeling comfortable with some of the EPA officers that signed that had were recalled. And the information minister said it bluntly that President Weah, if President Weah is asking for 38 EPA officers, the government cannot give him 38 EPA officers. Government gave him less than 38 officers as was done in the case of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and former Vice President Joseph Walker, who is currently the president now. So that's the information that the minister gave quite recently at the ministry. Is it okay?
Yes. I don't know.
Is it better now?
Like I said from the very beginning,
yes, much better.
There is no trace that we can lay on, or any documentary evidence that the former president, His Excellency President Weah, asked for that number. But again, we all understand, how sometimes people try to play around things, especially members of the Unity Party who has been given the opportunity to lead, but they think that they are still in their opposition mood. So we know how they will spin on things. So at the end of the day, they jump out with, a number that they just made up from God nowhere. And I came up and said, well, the president asked for this amount of agents to be assigned with him, which is very large. The only thing that the president was a bit concerned about, and that should be the concern of any other person, you cannot just have people in your proximity from where you don't know. You just wake up in the morning, you see different people in the sun. You just wake up in the morning and see different people in the sun. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Those are not just people, though. Those are trained state security. Are you saying that a person or the former president will have to be comfortable with or state trained security for that security officer to be around him or her?
Yeah.
And the question I have for you.
Yes, sir.
How do you think the president or how many EPS officers you think should be assigned to the president? And also, do you think former President Weah is concerned about his safety? Do you think he's in some type of danger in Liberia that he don't feel secure?
Definitely. He is concerned about his security, and I can say for sure he is definitely in danger.
Why is that?
Oh, well, the reason is one, we're all listening to the former, maritime boss. There was an incident that happened that is very concerning and scary. When he was coming back from his vacation or whatever it was, they had earlier contacted the authority in Liberia that the former president will be coming. As usual, called them and said, well, he will be coming, so as to inform them. And according to the former maritime boss, usually pilots will call the place that they are going and say, look, we are on our way coming, and there are things that needs to be settled, like, for example, where the plane is going to be, a landing, and the areas that they are going to give them, and etc., etc. So according to him, they are called while they were in the air, but earlier when they were on the ground, they called and said, look, the former president will be coming. And according to the former maritime boss, the how you call him, the secretary, the president called and said, no problem, the president can come and we are here, and it's okay. You don't even need to go through all of the protocol, but thank you for calling. So immediately, according to Honorable Nangbe, they left for Liberia. They took off for Liberia. So while they were in the air, there was this communication between the secretary to the president, the current president, and that of Honorable Len Eugene Nangbe. so as to confirm, whatever arrangement that was made earlier before they could get on board the plane. Only to observe while they were in the air, protocol change. According to him, there was no response. People were just going back and forth with him. There were other people that were going back and forth while he was with the secretary of the president. He heard some other voices from the back, and it's like people wasn't giving any kind of clear definition relative to whether he will be here or the plane is going to be here. The plane is going to be there, and how the protocol is going to be. And that was scaring. It was concerning because he was already in the air, coming and not getting anything straight, and everybody just kind of like, trying to play low on the communication. So according to him, he was afraid. And he even advised the former president that with what is going on, we were advised that you go to Sierra Leone. You can just ask the pilot, instead of landing in Liberia, to just detour and go to Sierra Leone, because we are not understanding what is happening. But despite all of these, the former president decided that, look, let's go. Wherever they want us to, to park, we will park. However the protocol is, I will subject myself to, the protocol for the day, and just try to, feel comfortable with it. That alone is something that is scary, because he is the former president of the Republic of Liberia, not just an ordinary person. I think, for God in heaven's sake.
I'm sorry to interrupt you though. That was the reason for which the former president is concerned for his security, because there was some type of miscommunication with the crew at the airport when he was in the air. Is that why you say the former president?
That is not the only. Yeah, that is not the only issue.
But that was why.
The second issue.
Okay, I have to go to Bishop Hager, but let me give you another 30 seconds to give us the second reason why you said the president, you feel like the former president is concerned about his security in Liberia.
Okay, the most important and foremost is, the way and manner in which security around him is being handled. The way security around him is being handled, is concerning. You cannot just be, like reassigning people, taking other people from there after 2-3 hours, bring another people after 2-3 hours, bring another people. Is concerning, because he has to be to some extent comfortable with people who are around him. And the statement that is coming from the EPF boss, that have now turned to maybe a social media freak. You saw the recent statement of him on Facebook. Is concerning. As somebody in that particular position, I think, you should be careful with the kind of statement and the kind of things that you post on Facebook.
Thank you very much.
So these are some of the reasons.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. Now let's come over to you, Bishop Hager, and feel free to interrupt me, Mr. Tabu, if you have any question. But we are doing an open discussion format, and Mr. Sheriff brought up the issue surrounding the EPA boss making a statement that the president requesting for 25 or 30 or EPS officer, but he said that wasn't true. He made a statement, and I think you heard what he said. If you care to respond to that, you can, but if there's anything that caught your interest this week or last week in Liberia, I'll give you the opportunity now to talk to us on that.
Well, I would not give credence to what Prince is saying. I followed Prince for many years. He had never been objective, never saw anything bad with all the bad policy of Honorable Excellency George Weah. When he had 6 years to help the Liberian people, he squandered all the opportunities. When George Weah himself said Liberians should be their own security, when the issue of insecurity was have reached an epidemic proportion in Liberia, instead of President addressing and reassuring Liberians, former President George Weah said every Liberian should be their own security. I want Prince to know that everywhere in the civilized world, it is the governing authority that determines the kind of security that's provided for officials of government. The system that is set up by law, the executive protection unit or EPA what agent, they are a part of the government that was created to provide security for all official and ex-official of government. So it is the present government that determines the level of security that is needed around whoever. Let a prince go and ask how many security is around former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf during the WIA administration. How many security were provided to the former president where Ellen Johnson Sirleaf made any particular demand that this number of security officers should come to my place, this quality from which area? No, we cannot factionalize the security. He is the former president. We respect him. We're going to give him protection because by virtue, we need to honor our statement. But for him to impose or to dictate to the government the quality of security that is needed, I think for me is totally unnecessary. Nothing will happen to George. We are Liberians are peaceful people. He is a political leader. They will provide the security and protection. There's absolutely those days where people were afraid for their safety in Liberia. Liberia is a free country. During the election, we saw people criticize each other. Nothing happened to them. So George Weah, with the level of political constituency he had, nothing will happen to him. He shouldn't be afraid of anything. It is the government that will determine the quality of security that is needed. You shouldn't make any issue out of that. You should accept and believe in a system that they all put together. The EPA is not a party or some kind of a malicious force. No, it is a government institution that is there, regardless of whoever is president. You need to provide the security for that person. Thank you. I just wanted to talk. Yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Let me allow you to finish.
I thought we we're going to be discussing about the wonderful budget that was
proposed. I gave you the opportunity to either respond to Mr. Sheriff or talked about whatever piqued your interest this week. But since you've talked about, I will come back to you. Mr. Sheriff made he provided two reasons why he think the former president is concerned about his safety. And I want you to respond to it and see whether that is genuine enough. One, he talked about the miscommunication between the airline or the pilot or the communication team on the airplane and the communication at the airport. The miscommunication, he said, gives the president reasons to be concerned about his security in Liberia, and also talk about the frequent change of EPS officers that are around him is making the former president concerned. Do you think those are genuine reasons why former president?
George Weah should be afraid because he stole the Liberian people money, and the asset recovery program is coming that they have to pay for or give our money back. I think because of the corruption, you need to be afraid for your own mismanagement of the economy. But in terms of security, who get down for George Weah? George Weah was over there. Nobody get down for him. We know what they go harm him for what? What are they going to get out of creating any insecurity for George Weah? Let him be quiet, man. He did so much wrong to Liberian people, and everybody trying to reconcile. You shouldn't try to create any kind of unnecessary noise. No, nothing going to happen to George Weah.
So what if but to Prince's point though, what if the former president is not comfortable with the EPS officer that are around him?
Why would he not be comfortable? Is there any reason why you feel uncomfortable? Is there any reason? Listen, when you go to Liberia, you want security to provide police for you. They say, no, I'm not comfortable with the police. Have anything happened that will make him to think that he's not safe? Let it come up. If there was an incident, you can't just start thinking all kinds of things that doesn't exist. We're talking about fact. Have anything happened there? The government had to deploy resources. In fact, providing him security is even paying it, even hurting the economy because the taxpayer money, the money he stole, we still got to provide because we respect him as former president. There are millions of Liberians who are living every night in insecurity. They're suffering in that country, but he has security. He should be happy. He want to tell the government what kind of security should be provided to him.
Well, are you saying that he should wait till something happens before he
I'm
before he
not
requests?
saying that for him to even to come up with the idea that he's not safe because they keep changing security. The police, they are professional. They know how to deploy resources. When he was president, he did the same thing. The security was deployed different places. You got to look at, okay, if I have to deploy people at this, I look at what to do. You can't tell the police or the EPA what to do. All you need to do is just relax and enjoy the protection they provided for him.
So don't you think it would be very reasonable or considerate for the government to allow him to choose the security personnel that he wants around him?
You want to create fashion for himself?
I'm asking. I'm asking.
You
Don't
don't
you think it
have
would
to
be?
do it. The security, the government is the one in every civilized country. Liberia is not an exception. Every civilized country, the government provides the security. They deploy the resources. You can't tell the government the kind of security you want. But it don't happen anywhere.
I understand what you're saying. I understand the government takes care of that. But I'm saying, if a former vice president or former president express some concerns about the security personnel around him, don't you think it's very wise on the part of the government or consider it?
I'm going to go deep into that. If they find any reason, if any security officer behave unprofessionally, you have his cabinet there, people that work with him, special assistant, whoever it is, let them address the Ministry of Justice or the APA and let's discuss it. But for him to just be thinking anytime he want to choose for himself what kind of security come, who does that? No, it don't happen anywhere in the world. It don't happen anywhere in the world. Liberia can be an exception. Donald Trump here, the government here, the Justice Ministry provide the special agent around here. He can't determine say I want XYZ. Why? Why should they do that for him?
Bishop Hagar, wouldn't you be concerned?
Yeah, Bishop Hagar.
I come in, David. Wouldn't you be concerned?
Okay.
Wouldn't you be concerned if you were in president, former president, we are shoes, and every other week the president, the security personnel that are around you are changed? Don't you think? Wouldn't you be concerned every day you see different security personnel around you?
I would not be concerned. I would even be happy because they're trying to evaluate the people and know who can serve the purpose better. That's it. The people are professional security institution, the EPA. He had the EPA for 6 years, never had any problem. Even though he deployed EPA to Ellen Johnson, other honorable people home, and nobody complained. Why would he be complaining that the same people? The new government have not trained any new security. The new government, all the EPA over there were not trained by Unity Party.
Thank you. I don't know if you were listening, Prince, but Bishop Hagar gave some rebuttal on what some of your claims. Were you listening, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I was definitely listening, and I listened very attentively. It's unfortunate that people will start to just make this kind of wild allegation, especially coming from a well-respected man in our community, that you make this kind of wild allegation that someone is a criminal without any legal document to be able to prove that. But that is just by the way, and we understand there are people who feel intimidated by the name of His Excellency former President Dr. George Manneh Weah, and we make these kind of expressions that are not true. But here is the thing: are listening to him saying that he has no right to even dictate to who are supposed to be around him or his security detail. It's not true. That is false. I just want to say on the surface level, some of us, by the grace of God, at least, in America here, we do one or two things. Maybe, used to work somewhere in the security sector. There are some areas that when you go there with the people that are there and they assign you there, it is the right of the individual. I have done some personal, let's say guard for other people. I've done it before. Sometimes when you go, people will look at you, either your comportment or whatever the case may be, and say no, and will call and say, I am sorry. If you can send me another officer, I will appreciate it, but I don't feel comfortable, with this particular officer. So for the bishop to say that the president, has no right to have any say in the people who are around him is false. It is false. That is not true.
So,
It's
Mr. Sheriff, are
yes,
you
sir.
suggesting that an ex-president of Liberia or any other country, for that matter, should be the one to decide who he needs to protect him from the national security, like the EPS? It said the ex-president that decides who to assign with him, like in the case of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, she must decide because the cases, if you're familiar with, and those that you know in the EPM will be assigned to to her. So my other question is, uh, you said President Weah need the security because of the circumstances he finds himself in. That is to say that President Weah is at risk. Is he at risk with the government or with his own partisans or seditionists who were not certified, who were disillusioned because he accepted the results? So what do you
Uh,
think? So
yeah.
don't
The
you
first
think
thing
he's
is I want to.
also the thing he also have here that seditionists who are not certified that he accepted the results could go after him? Could it be the reason why he asking for such a huge security? Or if the Baka government wants to do something to him, what signs are you seeing? What are the
Uh,
indicators that he's at risk under this regime?
President Weah has never been afraid of his own people. In fact, President Weah has been one of the men who, you know, is a kind of free spirit person. He always, around his people. He goes to the party headquarters, even when he was president, doing his presidency. Sometimes he goes to the party headquarters there and interact with people. So there has not been a time that he has been afraid, or has any resentment or some, fear of his own people. Never has that been. But when you look at the trend of event, like you said about the decision, I want to not use the word that he has to decide with the people, who are around him with security. But what I want to say is that he everyone, not even President Weah, as an former President Weah as an individual, but everyone that maybe enjoyed that particular privilege, is a privilege, and he enjoys that particular privilege, has the right to have some level of confidence with people who are assigned around them. So to some extent, you have a say, you have an input to make. Like for example, I cannot be. I'm just giving this example, this rough example. I cannot be maybe a 7 foot person in height. What I mean, I'm 7 foot, maybe 8 inches, and then you assign somebody who is maybe 3 feet near me. It's not possible. At least to some extent, I will I will have an input. That look, this is my height. I need somebody for XYZ reason. So these are some of the things that I'm saying. So it is not that he is to decide and say, look, that the other person, this is my decision. No, but he must be comfortable with those who are around him. Those who are around him are going to be taking care of him, and to some extent, his privacy will be compromised to some extent with the people who are around him. So there is a need for him to have a say. Now, when it comes to the issue of why are we afraid of the signs that we are seeing, to just lean on the signs that we are seeing, look at what happened at the airport, how he was humiliated. Former president of the Republic of Liberia was humiliated. What Kula Fofana, my own sister from Grand Cape, my county, said. She said that play there enough for you call past president, you call current president. Yes, sir.
Sherry, humiliation is not a security concern. Granted, what you're saying, the
What?
president was
No,
humiliated.
it is a security concern. We are humiliated. It's a security concern.
One will argue
Yes, sir.
again
Yes, sir.
that humiliation does not rise to security concern for a former president.
No,
Granted,
it does.
but again, it is your
It
opinion. I have
does.
this last question to ask you.
No, it's not my opinion. It does. When you are humiliated as a former president to the level at which he was humiliated, is of concern, especially when the secretary to the office of the president, Kula Fofana, came up and said, "I play there if a current president, not for past president." And with the kind of statement that is coming from the
let me ask
EPS
you this
director,
question. Then we get. I'll
yes,
ask
sir.
you this question, and then we can move on to other things. We'll take a break and after move on to other conversation. Now,
Yes, sir.
former President Weah today is concerned about his security or his safety in Liberia, and not only that, he's also concerned about the security personnel that are around him. But just a few months back, when the Liberian people were concerned about their safety and security, he suggested that they depend on CCTV. What happened to the CCTV for his own security?
Like you said, he suggested. Now, let me tell you something. In this United States of America that we live, in this country, we pay taxes for the protection that we enjoy from, the security. But in addition, even where you are seated, there are cameras around you. You have cameras in your homes. There are other areas, there are things that you do, personally to make sure that your environment is a bit secure. Like I give an example, a few minutes from now, I will be changing. In my car here, I got about 3 different arms. In my car. As I speak to you now, 3 different arms. Legally, I'm to bear arms. So it doesn't mean that there are no security. No, but I have to take some extra measure, to make sure that I am safe, I'm secure, I'm comfortable where I am.
I don't know if you listen to the president. I don't know if you listen
to the president.
I don't know if you listen to the president in the reference I'm making. He did not say use CCTV as an extra measure for your security.
He did not also say that you must use it. That is the only means that you have for your security. He did not say
I will ask you a much better question.
Yes, sir.
In addition to the CCTV, you saying was an extra measure for the Liberian people to take care of their security. What did President Weah do to take care of the Liberian people's security that now he's making demands on how his security personnel should look like?
We saw the presence of state security everywhere in the Republic of Liberia. Yes, there are challenges, but they were always present. They were always visible. They always show up to these areas. We saw how the police responded to issues, especially of security concerns. We saw it. So these are all things that you should look at. These are all measures that you should look at to know that, look, the government, under His Excellency, former President Dr. George Manneh Weah, did everything to make sure that securities are visible, not only visible, but that they are present to deter, anything that would be of danger to the citizenry. So we saw that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We at this point we'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll move on to other things. If you're watching us, stay with us. Right after the break, we will be back with some other conversations in Liberia. But for now, we will see you right after the break.
Celebrating the lives of our dearly departed loved ones is no easy task. That's why you become family the minute you walk through the doors of the Exodus Funeral Chapel. Exodus Funeral Chapel is deeply committed to helping you navigate your way through this difficult time. Our services are reliable, affordable, and professional. Call us, visit our website, or feel free to stop by in person for your consultation. At the Exodus Funeral Chapel, we believe in the dignity of your loved ones. Empathy and respect is the goal of our staff. Exodus Funeral Chapel. Empathy, respect, and dignity.
Attention all organizations, NGOs, and social clubs in and out of Liberia. Are you tired of relying solely on social media to run your operations? An effective web platform is your most important marketing tool. And that's where Tiamat.com comes in. Hello, my Liberian people. My name is Sophia, and I want you to consider this. 53% of consumers do online research about an organization before talking to someone from that institution. That means not having a website could be costing you opportunities. Step up your game and establish a professional online presence. Introducing our web platform designed specifically for 501c organizations, small businesses, and political organizations, social clubs, etc. At tiamet.com, we understand how important it is to make a great digital first impression, which is why we offer you all the help needed to develop, maintain, and host NGOs and small and big organization websites by giving you a full suite of services that includes automatic billing for members, membership and visitor portals, first-class design and functionality, and much more. The best part is, it only costs $20 per month. Upgrade your image today with our customized web design services. Visit www.tiamet.com to get started. This is a Liberian-owned business.
So welcome back. Mr. Higa, you hear me, right?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome back to the Hat Zone, Mr. Higa. Let's talk about another thing. You quite recently, uh, the the foreign minister of Liberia or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they gave those in possession of Liberian diplomatic passports, whether Liberians or aliens, should return those passports to the ministry within the period of 10 or more days. What are your thoughts about this latest development, Mr. Higa?
This I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very proud. I support the initiative of the Minister of Foreign Affairs or the Foreign Ministry to actually clean up the diplomatic passport saga in Liberia. It is not strange. All Liberians know that a passport, it represents the image of the country. And if your passport, your nation passport, is in the hand of unscrupulous people, people who do not represent the values and aspirations of the Liberian people, they are possessing the Liberian passport, even is an embarrassment for Liberians as we travel in other nations. I believe it is about time that the whole diplomatic passport issue be totally streamlined. I believe to clear it so that those who are really deserving, because holding a diplomatic passport is a privilege that is being conferred upon you by the government to either represent the nation in some meeting or in a nation. But if people who are not just supposed to have the passport, and we just don't know how many, during the we-are-led government, we had a lot of scandal about passport issue. People from the foreign ministry that were
you'd like to make reference or give example of one of those situations.
Yeah, ma'am. The guy that was fired from the foreign, he was director of passport. Remember the young man that was fired, and he came on. I think he came on the Spoon TV. He said a lot of things that were going on with this passport issue. There were people who were in the government, top government officials, were presenting names to him, and he felt it was not appropriate to issue the passport. And there was some big hands behind it, and they tried to create problem for him. We saw what he said. We heard it. I think we can go back with a reference to his interview. So it is obvious that so many people who's not supposed to have the Liberian passport, especially the diplomatic passport, had it. So it is appropriate. Like other nation, whatever nation in the world would do it. Even government do that when we find that there are so many counterfeit banknote, the government just decide to just withdraw the entire banknote to just clear the whole area and have new banknote. So the government of Liberia looking at what is unfolding in our diplomatic area, decided to recall all those who have the passport. It said if you are out of the country, go to the Liberian consulate or the embassy and submit that passport, and you will be able to, after going through the analysis, you'll be able to be issued a new diplomatic passport.
So Bishop Yeager, the critics of the government who think that perhaps the past government would think that it's like because of their negligence that our passport is in the hand of foreigners or those who don't supposed to possess Liberian diplomatic passports. How come your passport got in the hands of foreigners or criminals? What do you think must have gone wrong?
Well,
you think somebody in the ministry within the high rankings of the former government in the passport business, diplomatic passport business, doing business with our diplomatic passport?
Listen, the issue of diplomatic passport being in the hand of foreigner is not a new thing. It happens in many nations, especially poor nations around the world. Nations where people who have money can use the opportunity to use a passport for protection, to travel, for money laundering, for all kinds of things. So it is not only Liberia. So many countries, passports have been trafficked by people who have money. So for us as Liberians, if the information is up there and we realize that our diplomatic passport, then look at the record. If you got a small nation of 5 million, you see how many embassies we have around the world, how many people we have working in the foreign sector. If you look at the record and see like 3,000-4,000 diplomatic passports have been issued, John is concerned to say, where are these people? What are they doing with our passport? Let me call all the passports so we can really investigate this thing. So a small nation like Liberia, it will have a huge number of diplomatic passports circulating. It's not in our interest. It's not better for us. So what the foreign minister decided to do is, listen, we want to declare the passport invalid, but want to give you the opportunity to come and submit your passport. We'll go through the investigation. If you are entitled to it, we'll issue new passport. Those who cannot make it after a certain time, we declare the passport invalid, and we send a communication to all the international organizations, all the countries that the passport are invalid. So you're not able to use it. Then we'll know who is who have our passport. We have to control our passport. It's very, very important. So I welcome it. You saw the reaction from the U.S. Embassy. They were very happy that the foreign ministry took on that decision because it's very, very important.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
the other question I want to ask you before Derek comes in is that there are people who think the government is doing so many things at the same time, and people of that nature, or governments of that nature, don't necessarily achieve anything. For example, you just took office as a government. You are putting together or talking about war crime code, establishing a war crime code. At the same time, you are calling for asset declaration. At the same time, you are calling for people to return their passports. People think the government is doing plenty of things at the same time and they likely not achieve any of them.
Listen, when you have diabetes, you have malaria, you have cancer, they got to treat everything at the same time. You not say because you have malaria, you have diabetes and have cancer, so let's treat the malaria first and then wait. If we don't have time, Liberia has too many problems, so we have to attack all of them at the same time. That's the only way we're going to help. If you don't do so, you will have more problems. So when somebody is sick with different diseases, you can't say let's treat the sickness one at a time. Let's have a holistic approach. Let's try and treat all of them at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And sometimes if you don't have any meaningful plan, you try to do so many things at the same time to create a distraction so that people cannot focus on anything, but cannot focus on specific things. But I'm just going to put that out there. But what I actually wanted to say,
up there, you can't leave it hanging there. I'm not going to take it.
Why
would you say that you don't have no meaningful plan?
No,
The asset
listen,
declaration
I
is
wasn't.
meaningful. The
I,
war crime code is it's not the government I was talking about. The war crime code.
Bishop Hagar,
You can have the political courage
Bishop Hagar,
to say, let's go ahead and do it. That's it. But
no,
every government are keen to talk about the war crime code.
Bishop Hagar,
The asset declaration, the renting. So many people stole. John, we are here. People that stole so much.
Bishop Hagar, I wanted to ask a question of my own, and I built on David questions, but now I will go there. Now, you're doing so many things. Just making decision a day or two later, you record that decision, you realize it was a mistake. A few weeks ago, you called for 3 government institutions to be audited. This week alone, you pull one back, say they shouldn't be audited. You're making a whole lot of decisions. One may even think that you're not even thinking about these decisions. Again, it almost seems like, and this is not my opinion, this is an argument. Others are making critics of the government are making that it almost
and direct additionally, government makes appointment, withdraw those appointments.
Making
So many
appointments.
things.
So again, the critics are arguing that this government is just doing so many things because they have absolutely no plan, and they are creating distractions so that Liberian people cannot focus on one specific thing. Gail, give us the progress of the truth, not the truth, but the War Economic Crimes Code. What progress is it making now?
Derek, you are a journalist. A wonderful progress. The resolution was adopted. It's been sent to the Senate. The Senate going to pass that. The president.
How long has it been?
What?
How long has it been? And let's not forget that the president has.
Derek,
let me ask this question.
Listen, we have to follow the process.
This is
we want this. We want that.
This is a
Bishop Hagar.
To be accelerated. Bishop Hagar, I will give you the opportunity to respond. But this is everything that was embedded in David's question. Okay, because here's the War Economic Crimes Code that this government want to put on her head and make it seem like they are the one pushing for it. But guess what? The president has the power to pass executive order today, and they will not even wait for the Senate. Why isn't he doing that?
Okay, listen. You want to jump the boat.
I'm not jumping the boat.
We can't be all over the place using executive order. You know why executive order, when executive order is used? When there's a statement in the legislature so the president can take that decision. But the process is advancing. The House of Representatives passed that resolution with majority vote. They submitted to the Senate. The Senate received it. They are delayed. The Committee on Judiciary, they are discussing that proposition right now. And after they discuss, they'll bring it in the plenary of the Senate, and they're going to vote upon it. That's the process. It happened all over the world. So the president should stop that process and do that. Why would he want to do executive order?
Mr. Takwe, doesn't
Derek.
That scenario Bishop Hagar just gave, doesn't it sound much like yesterday during former President Weah administration, when he had written a communication to this legislature and they were waiting for it, and it took them 6 years? It did not happen. When they both
let me tell you, I can guarantee, read my lips. It's not going to take 3 months. It's not going to take 6 months. It is happening now in real time. It is happening now. Read my lips.
The Liberian people kept waiting until 6
years. You even go insist today. We're doing everything. What are you talking about?
Bishop Hagar, let's stop deceiving the Liberian people. When I said that, I talking about the United Party administration. If you can get on the bus to go to your destination, why wait for the next bus? The president of Liberia today can pass an executive order, will not be waiting for the Senate today. Why isn't he doing that? Or the War Economic Crimes Code is not too important to the Liberian people for executive order? Is that what you're saying? But again,
at this stage, Derek, there isn't any stalemate, as Bishop Hagar said. The committee, the relevant committee, the Committee on Judiciary, I think, taking their own time or being meticulous in looking at the document or at that particular proposal for the establishment of a war crimes court. And the executive order is sometimes issued by presidents, as Bishop Higa said, when there is a stalemate and there's no way out. The president is left with no alternative but to declare executive order to make sure that his goal is achieved in these kind of cases. So the fact that it's in process is being discussed or deliberated upon, it would be inappropriate if perhaps even the legislature or the Senate, the Liberian Senate may see it as an affront to them.
Yeah.
Why they are discussing such a sensitive matter, then the president, all of a sudden, executive order. Quite frankly, it would be wrong. Joseph Baka received a lot of lashes if he does that. Where in a case that the Senate is procrastinating and the government remains determined or unwavering in terms of establishing the war crimes court, the president, Joseph Baka, who is now getting a green light from international partners in other countries in support of the establishment of war crimes court, will be left with, because that was one of the things he campaigned on. So if anybody who wants to get in the wood of it, then that will compel him to issue the executive order that we're talking about.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takwe. And now, what I was actually going to say is, Bishop Hager, it seems like every week the government of Liberia gets less and less critics. It seems like President Waka is making a lot of decisions that most people favor and say, oh yeah, you're doing the right thing. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of things that people are having disagreements on. And we have just recently, I think, David talked about it in the current event. President Waka dismissing NASCOP deputy director for gross insubordination. I wanted to play that video, and I wanted to have again for you to give me a take on it. If does this decision seems right to you? So again, if we have that video, let's play the video first, and then I will ask Bishop Hager to give us his position on that.
On that side, so this. So I told him that, and he said you all were coming. So I said, okay, then we can rejoin the meeting.
So you want to join the meeting?
No, I mean this is why we adjourn the meeting, because I told him that and said we'll wait on you people. Now that you people have come, I will reiterate what Dewey has said. When Father has said he should reconfirm with the executive action. Dewey has been informed that he's still in charge of NASCOP. So Councilor Connect should reconfirm with them. And he has not received any official letter or have seen it in executive action letter. So going forward, let me call Dewey. He's online, so we can speak with him officially.
Is it necessary to do contact? No, that's the problem. That's not.
Yeah.
So that's the president.
Yeah, honorable.
I join the meeting.
We are on. No, it's better we.
No, it's not necessary. You already relayed the message to us.
Oh, yeah, we are in a meeting.
So many of we don't want the president to send communication, official communication. It is not sufficient.
Senator, will you? Can you just let us know if you speak with your staff is ready or not?
We don't know that. What you guys want? You want to
hello? Good morning. I'm going to put you on speaker. So
for the Ministry of State,
I can tell you right.
I don't even know the president's position.
But Honorable Babamos.
We can't go there. No. I mean, you can't suggest also that. I mean, we just. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. He's brought a piece of information. If you don't honor it, that's all right. You can go and the authority that sent him will say, follow the right procedure. We don't have to do that. We are not in any confrontation. So.
Hello?
So, sir.
Okay, you say you talking.
Yeah. We brought this letter.
They brought a letter from the president.
From the president's signature. I'm the chairman of the party. This is a senior senator of Bond County, of Wapping. We are all eminent citizens of this country. We will not bring something that is liable to falsification. We will not do that. If we present it to you, and for any reason you don't honor it, they say, well, I don't want to honor it, let us know.
Relay the message.
We'll relay the message to the
phone
folks.
side. That's cool.
I think all is good is that the introduction of Mr. President from the Ministry of State issue. And it's
Is the letter not sufficient, sir? Just let us know if it's not sufficient. That's all we need.
Honorable Joseph Amamo has said that he having received a communication from the president. I'm quoting directly about wanting him to speak with you people and say what he had told me, that he had not received a communication from the executive mansion. He had not seen any official communication on the executive mansion website, and he has spoken to the mansion and he had been told he is still in charge of NASCO. Okay. That's what he told me to relate to you people. So this is what I'm calling for him to say instead of saying
Well, thank you for religion.
We can go to the mountain and make it right. And all right, I want.
That's why.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, to our production team. Bishop Hager, let me come back to you. March 21st, 2024, communication was released on the executive mansion page with President Boaga dismissing NASCOP Deputy Director for gross insubordination. Let me ask you, what do you think about the president's decision?
Listen to me, the decision for me is welcome. We as a nation, I believe we need to build some institution. One of the things we're going to legislate is the transitional operation from one administration to another administration, how things need to be done. I believe there are so many things not very clear in terms of the transitional process. So in that light, there will be some confusion. Those confusions are necessary to come out right now. We are taking note of those things and we're going to legislate laws so that it will become like, one of the things that they do here in America that I like that they have the election in November, and then the president take power in January. The same thing in Liberia. But between October and January, the government is coming in power, supposed to have already nominated all their people. And then those people go to the different ministry and get accustomed to the process so that when the day the president is inducted into office, those people can just go strictly for confirmation hearing and they take over. But in the process, there's a lot of confusion. But for the deputy director there to not receive and questioning the authenticity of those reputable Liberians, I think is going too far. And for me, I would consider being insubordination and deserve to go.
Again, let's be clear, because I'm going to hold you to this, Bishop Hager. Why did she lose her job again from the video we just witnessed?
Because
what was the insubordination in that scenario?
the insubordination. You saw the quality of people that came with the letter. He wasn't there, and he said you were not going to a year because it needed clarification. These guys are not coming there to joke. So it was an insubordination to the authority.
Who were those people? Are any one of those people the official spokesperson of the president?
Oh my God. You never saw the people? You don't know them? They were eminent citizens. They are people that work in the government. And then you telling me, say, they are spokesmen for the government. They brought official letter. But the man said he couldn't receive them because they have to hear from the executive mansion. It don't work like that.
You watched the video. The letter, he said, did not look like an official letter from the president. Never had his stamp, never had his signature. And you're here saying because he did not honor that letter, it's a form of insubordination. First, before I continue with you, let me welcome Mr. Ja Winkin Weir. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Weir. Welcome to episode 10, season 5 of the Hard Zone.
Oh, thank you, Derek. Sorry to be very late. I was told to do certain work after I was off. Really, it was bad.
You're here. That's all that counts. We are having an open discussion with issues in Liberia, and I'm glad you're here. You heard Bishop Hager. I don't know. You watched.
I want to ask Bishop Hager a question.
Yes, but yeah, all right.
Bishop Hager. According to based on Darius' question, I think Darius' question needs an answer. The letter questioned the authenticity of that communication. The first thing is that she explained to them why she couldn't accept it. Why the communication people or the press secretary to the president can take the burden, and it is the lady that is taking the burden, because after all, if she has received prior communication, that's how it is done in most cases. Prior communication that this person is coming to turn over. Don't you think the government also in terms of its inability to have communicated or given the people or the authorities there a NASCAR prior notice? So I think the government failure giving prior notice are what created a crisis. And the other thing is that the impression the president's decision has created on the minds of many is that the president is trying to, use the power unnecessarily. I'm very sorry for that. Unnecessarily in such a thing that in most cases when people make mistakes, like what happened, they give you first warning, second warning, third warning, you are dismissed. But the president just, dismissed the lady. You think it's appropriate to have done that?
Well, the president, I respect his wisdom, and whatever decision he takes in his capacity as the president, I would not question the wisdom behind that. I stand with the president in that direction. I think we discussed the issue before. I'm here tonight because I want to discuss the real thing that Liberian people are happy about. That is the new budget that came up that has so much for the Liberian people.
You're running away from this question.
I'm not running because I think I dealt with that question before. Bringing it back.
Is it okay if I do a follow up on the question?
Go right ahead, but I don't have anything to say. I respect the judgment of the president.
I understand
it was insubordination, and she had to go.
I understand that you're campaigning for this man as the wisest man in Liberia, so I understand why you will honor his decision. But let's not forget, a Liberian woman lost her job. It's possible that several heads depends on her to take care of her household. Or something that you cannot even point to the
Liberian is taking what a job that have a lot of family on them.
Let me conclude my question. A Liberian woman.
Why are you making it look like that foreigner giving a job to?
No,
I'm not Liberian with family.
Can I ask my question, Bishop Hagan?
Go ahead. Go right
I
ahead.
want to use the reference you made. American elections held in November. Between November and the inauguration, that period was supposed to be used for the transition. If Unity Party or President Bouaka had done that, maybe a Liberian woman will still have a job today. I come back to my question. A Liberian woman lost her job due to a fault that's not even from her. Let's put this on the government of Liberia. No communication from them whatsoever.
She can
And
go to the competent
asking
jurisdiction and sue the government. It's possible.
No,
Let's go there.
Again, a Liberian woman lost her job. And you're saying that you honor, you respect the decision of the president. Like David said, in a professional setting, she will be given won't be the first warning. She will be called and say, hey, you can't do this again. But she was not given that opportunity, Bishop Hager. And today, instead of Bishop Hager, let me finish. Bishop Hager, let me finish. Instead of the government being a responsible one, take a responsibility for their error that they made. Did not communicate with that and with NASCORP, then party representative over there. This Liberian woman had to lose her job.
Listen.
Someone argue that they don't think it was fair to her. Bishop Hagan, is your final position with the ladies being treated unfairly, as some believe, is that you respect the president's decision?
Whether she felt she was treated unfairly, she can still take her case to the competent legal jurisdiction. I respect the person, I stand with the president, and that's what I can say right now.
Thank you very much. Let's recognize the president of Mr. Boda. Thank you for joining us. And Mr. Boda, welcome to episode 10, season 5 of the Hard Zone.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. And to my fellow panelists, I say good evening. I'm sorry for being late. I just got here, man.
You're here. That's all that matters. We're having a conversation, open discussion today. And I know you heard Bishop Hager's position on NASCOR deputy director being released of her duty, is that he respect the decision of the president. But let me let's come to Mr. Jarwin Kinwia. Talk to us. What caught your attention this week? If you want to talk about the NASCOR deputy director situation, you're free to do so.
Let's talk about the budget.
We'll get there. You should have brought that up, but you choose to rebuttal to
I brought it up, but you guys are trying to dip in trivial thing. Honestly, we talk about that thing. The woman fired, she already left.
Mr. Weir, you're on mute. Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Okay, so basically my observation, I want to talk generally about this government, as Bishop Oga just said, like they had enough time to put the government together. But at that time, President Bouaka was spending a lot of time. Even while he was in America, people were thinking that he was forming his government. That was my thought when there was a speculation that you were in the hospital. Because right now they need to buckle up because a lot of calls from Liberia. He has been wanting a job for a long time. So
I'm not trying to talk about that.
There is no way he was a vice president, he knew where the arrow was, all the kind of stuff. But right now, Liberian people are impatient, even though they are patient, but people are running out of patience. 100 days
out of patience.
And
let's pretend, Mr.
People are running out of patience.
We go 1 year, people running out of patience for what?
Yeah, people are running out of patience. People have to eat, and people start calling that things are getting things are not getting better. I think the reason is that there is no clarity of direction. Even though if you tell the people to wait, if you tell the people to wait, you should specify you should give them timelines, specify what are you doing, or they kind of stuff. But everybody is like, oh, hoping a goal. Because of the experience of President Boakai, he knew where the other people made error here and there. So I mean, the people are right to complain because there is no clear direction. How long are they going to wait? How long does it take to form a government of this tiny country of ours? It's a small country. So I mean, the government needs to do better. Let Liberian people know where we are going. What is the timeline? What should we expect in the next 3 or 4 months? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winking. We made a salient point. The man been around politics for over 40 years. Served as vice president for over 12 good years. If anyone should know this job better, it should be him. It shouldn't be someone making these novice mistakes that Bishop Hager is trying to defend. But let's hear from Mr. Boda.
I'm gonna be a little bit rusty. So where we are right now?
It's an open discussion. We're talking about NASCAR deputy director being fired for gross insubordination. Earlier, we show a video of what happened at NASCAR. And if you want to comment on that, you can. But whatever pique your interest in Liberia, we'll give you the opportunity to also talk about that.
Well, there are a lot happening in Liberia, and I know people are very impatient, and the expectation is there's a switch to be flipped for things to work. And I think we need to understand government have to generate money, revenue first before you kick off anything. And in order for the Boakai government to be moving fast as people expect it to be, you must first of all see what was left in the cupboard for government to operate with. What the funds that left there. Because you cannot operate in the Astra. You cannot operate with other money. So you know how much was left in that cover. So I pick back to George Weah. When George Weah took office, he inherited $150 million for the Ellen and the Boakai government. What did the CDC government left in the cover that the government can start to operate with all of the different things that we have, the challenges facing my Liberian people? So if anybody is expecting to see government play magic, I think they're living in the astral world. They're not living in reality. Okay, Boakai might have been government for so long, but that does not mean there's a chunk of money he got sitting somewhere. He's just going to rip it, or people are just going to start sending money to him. First of all, there's a lot that he had to clean up first. They had to show the international community that they are ready to do business. The people have to observe them, watch them, and see what's going to happen. So you talk about 2-year business. The first 2 years of Boakai government is an observation for the international community to see actually what they're going to do in terms of fiscal policy.
2 years for observation?
Yes. Or more. So you're not just expecting to see something just flip overnight. The fiscal policy had to start with Boakai, how to utilize revenue in the country first. Their own revenue, the own revenue they're going to generate. So those are things that Liberian people should sit and think about. And we don't even hear. Got to think about that. It's not a government. It's not the continuity of government. Is when the funds are there, the appropriations are there, the revenues are there.
Are you saying this is? I'm sorry.
It's a border. We need the communication. How do we know?
What communication are you talking about?
But that's why I'm saying the president and the government not telling Liberian people where we are going.
Communicating with you. The people are telling you, they give you a budget that they were going to complain at the budget. Why they had to do this? Everything the government tries to do, people criticize it. People whining and yelling, screaming here and there. Screaming and yelling, not going to do anything.
It's part of the process.
Yeah, it's part of the process. It's not going to do anything. Every day they put update what happened in government. But yeah, Liberian people think that Mr. Boakai was going to kind of flip a switch and teach around. No, it's not possible.
Before I go back to Bishop Hager, though, to Mr. Weah's point, Boaca should know all about this. He should know all about this. If anyone should be more prepared to tackle the issue of Liberia right now, it should be Boaca.
Yeah, but I just told you the
This man
preparedness
is
of
not.
Mr. Boaca.
He's
Hold on,
not.
hold on, hold on. The
He's not.
preparedness of Boaca is fiscal policy. Fiscal policy. That's the preparedness you're talking about. He's not going to change anything when he doesn't have the fiscal policy put into play and they start to work it out. There's a lot of things that were left in government that you and I know for the last 6 years that this government have to deal with. First, all those challenges that were left behind got to be cleaned up first. You cannot do anything when your revenue, your strength of revenue, you don't even know the strength of revenue. Nothing happening right now in terms of revenue.
It's some are even saying
Do
that.
Do you agree on that side, on that aspect of it? Because
revenue
is everything.
I'm here to
why do we agree? Why nothing going on in revenue? Why?
But you're anything going on in revenue?
That's why he's saying.
Yeah, but don't you know how much taxes? Look at our budget. Let's talk some serious thing tonight. Look at the budget. To help Liberia to move to the next level, you need at least $5 billion.
So
we can't even our revenue can't even reach $700 million.
So how are you going to rescue Liberia?
Good question. It's a good question, though. No.
I just told you, rescuing Liberia is putting into play fiscal policies and making sure you got people in position of trust that will do the right thing. That's the rescue we're talking about. Holding people accountable.
But you see, like giving excuses, it's not a way forward.
I'm not giving you excuses. I'm giving you facts.
Let's hear from
you. See the government can look at the budget. Look at the budget they gave you. Go and look at the budget line. You and I work. If we don't make money, do we just raise our expenditure or what we're going to do next year? I'm going to build a mansion. I'm going to buy a new car. How do you build up on that? It's based on your string of revenue.
Give all the brand how we'll make the money.
That's what I was about to ask. I think that's the communication.
That's what you're talking about. Because you're talking about rescue.
To help the Liberian people.
Here is what we want.
Will you protect me?
Mr. Weah, I'll come back to you. Let's protect Bishop Hagar for like 30 seconds.
We just saw a budget that have a lot of cuts based on the vision of Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boaca to help the Liberian people. One case in point, Ministry of Presidential Affairs. Last year, they have $13 million budget. We cut off $4 million from that. And the money that is being saved will be used to help the agricultural sector of the country. Because we know Liberia's future in terms of economic development is in the area of agriculture. We need to get money to invest into the agricultural sector. We took money from other useless activity that was doing in the economy and channel those savings into productive areas to help the Liberian people. Money going to the hospitals, money going to schools, money going to help with a little infrastructure. That's how you develop a nation. You allocate the resources to those key line areas to improve the quality of life of the people. That's what civilized government do all over the world. It can't be different in Liberia. What are you guys talking about? How do we develop a country? Liberia is a poor country. We are our budget in Liberia. You are aware, just the first city of Philadelphia. I'm talking about Pennsylvania. Philadelphia City Hall, $12 billion budget annually. A whole nation. We can't even reach the 800 million. Do you know why? Because we don't have the revenue. There is no business there. The taxes the government getting for the exploitation of the resources are little.
So, okay, let me wait for my
So the
turn.
government,
Let's allow him to conclude. Go ahead.
so what the government decided to do is, listen, let this one strong and hard decision. We have to get the government operating. We can't close down the government. So we still got to pay people. But let's be smart. Ministry of Foreign Affairs, no minister, nobody going for any international conference. If you have to attend a meeting, you use Zoom. You can contribute towards that. Let's save money on all the useless travel. Let's merge all the embassies. We don't need to have embassies in all the nations of the world. What are we getting from the embassies? Let's put embassies in strategic capital of the world and let them have jurisdiction. Let's save millions over there and let's channel the money to agriculture. Let's channel the money into our health sector. Let's channel the money into our little infrastructure that we have there. That's what we are doing. So everywhere, the Liberian Economic Forum have applauded the government for a sound budget. As an economist, it's a sound budget. The Joseph Human Burger government, for the first time, is cutting down government expenditure to allocate resources to areas that will improve the Liberian people's lives. And why can we be employing the government and be talking about somebody being fired from their job because they were insubordinate, the private insubordinate? Listen, you private insubordination, we dismiss you. We move on. That's it.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Let's hear from you, Mr. Jai Winkin.
So, Bishop Hagar, on the question of big government, I'm one of those who don't support that, because I believe that even if you were to make every town a county, it doesn't solve the problem. It's the same resources. My problem is that I want to see the plan, because no matter what you do, if we don't train our people, I want to see the allocation for training our people for the next 10 years plan, for example, that will have Liberians building our own roads. The last time when I was in Liberia, I see our passports are being produced by Ghanaians. So my focus point is that what is the plan for the youth of Liberia, the budget that is in question, how much will be saved, and how is it going to be used? Because no matter
budget,
I'm coming. No matter what happened, whether you get billions of dollars cash on hand, if there is no training, if Liberians themselves cannot build their own roads, cannot do certain things for themselves, even like controlling our own gold and diamond, we need a kind of plan from a government that will make sure that we'll be able to do our own thing rather than bringing people to manage the resources for us. I want to see a kind of plan that will train Liberians. We are the oldest country in Africa. We should be training people. So I'm not criticizing the Boagai government for cutting out the budget. That is not my point. I applaud that, but I want to see it further and in further clarification how Liberians will be trained so that we'll get our own Liberians building our roads, taking over our mining sectors, and all of this stuff. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, the thing you're talking about is a good thing. I love your patriotism. I want to let you know it's not going to happen in the next 10 years. We got to develop the capacity. Why am I saying so? Because you are very utopic when it comes down. Let me ask you a question. And we have the conversation on it, Mr. Weir. The European Union gave us money to do our electrification. The people came, the company that came to run the electric wire were looking for Liberians who were electricians that was qualified and knew what to do. They put the announcement and asked those who qualified, who don't have work experience. They were still having deficit of Liberians. They have to carry up the project. So what they did, they went to Ivory Coast. They went to Ghana to get trained electricians. You are not going to force a Liberian young man who want to be Ryan Pimpin. He won't go to college to learn about electricity. Are you going to force that? Or are you going to bring the company and say, okay, yeah, they employ Liberian because they're Liberian, we don't know how to do the job? Who does that?
Bishop Edgar, yes, man. I'm not calling you, but if I hear you clearly, then my expectation would be like President Boga, for example, since we don't got water in Liberia, I would have loved to hear that he announced in the recruitment about 50,000 Liberians for plumbing and 50,000 for these people can be trained, even though it will not be overnight. But you need to create these things for Liberians to get something to fight for.
So when the government decide, like for example, I want the Booker Washington Institute. When the government decide to add extra $150,000 to build up the capacity of Booker Washington Institute to train more Liberian young people, it's not helping the country.
Thank you, Bishop.
Wait. I want to clarify something. Here, this country that we're in America, when you read about the reconstruction of America, when things were tough, what did the government do? I know all of these people read about these things. They recruited people massively to work, to involve, to get training. That's what I'm talking about. Because right now our situation is bad. Like
the
for
situation
example,
is bad. Listen, did you see the plan the government have for the Zogo?
How many people got to be trained as an electrician?
I just asking you where they are going to build vocational schools and dormitory in 3 counties where they will be training, taking about 20,000 Zogos and put them in the system to give them skill. Have you read that plan?
It doesn't answer my question. I'm talking about dealing with the emergency situation we have in Liberia right now. I'm talking about water and electricity. We need people to be trained in that area. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, but the people that Zogo, you think why they will be trained in?
I don't know.
Okay, now you don't know. That's what we're telling you.
If I'm coming, let me move to you. Let me come to you, Mr. Boda. Now, it's no secret. Every well-meaning Liberian will commend the president for the budget that was just released. I mean, if you look at the budget cut of the Ministry of State from 20 million to 9 million, the office of the president from 4.4 million to 2.2 million, the vice president 4 million to 2 million. And not just that, these money are being sent to, like, the Ministry of Education, increasing their budget from 98 million to 105 million. The University of Liberia from 30 million to 32 million. Now, we all saw the budget. We can continue to name it. Now, my thing is, let's take, for instance, the Ministry of Education. What are their plans, or what plans have they put forward to improve education that the previous administration did not do? That the Liberian poor can still have more money going to them, but this is the plan that they have. Take, for instance, the Ministry of Health. What new measures are they putting into place to make sure that Liberians are not dying at JFK with all proper medication? Since they're getting more money, we're not saying these things will work today. But again, what communication are they sending to the Liberian people that, hey, we're getting more money from this budget, and there's the new plans. You will have medication in JFK and other government institutions. You will have different, or just come up with a plan. Since they're getting more money, we commend the budget cut and budget allocation. But what plans are they proposing to the Liberian people, Mr. Boda?
So here's the thing, folks. You have a government that have an agenda, have an arrest program. And based upon the arrest program, government has now decided, look, we're going to put money into our budget, into the very institution that we want to build. So the Boga-led government has already given a roadmap of what they want to do. So, and you see them working in that direction. That is allocating money in an area that they talk about education, roads, and all that stuff. Agriculture. You raise your money, you add some money to agricultural development. So those that's telling you that, hey, we're focusing on what we want to do, we're adding money there, and we're going to develop the program to improve the life of Liberian people. They told you that's what they're going to do. And they're allocating money for those areas. So you do not expect that to happen in 3 months, or in 6 months, or 7 months.
Mr.
So
Mr.
hold on, because people just think that okay, yeah, the arrest program, these are long-term, short-term, and medium-term projections that were made by the Barker-led administration to come up with that arrest program. So they're now getting on the path where they're going to allocate money, and we all know budget. Their money is not sitting there.
Mr. Boda.
No, let me finish. So you know when you make a budget, it's a projection. It's so now they have made no projection.
We get all of that. We get all of that. And I'm sorry
but you keep asking these questions as though that the money is sitting now. Why are they? So you got school that are feeling. Listen to me. You got feeling. Listen, let me finish. You talk about education. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of institutions. We had the Booker Washington, all the technical colleges. We got the colleges that were developed during the early era, the community colleges in the college.
Right.
So now, the community colleges have been developed. We had a lot of technical schools had around, and we now have to look at the institution. So that is why you had the Ministry of Education and the borough institution that are in the country, schools, board, and whatever, now want to start to sit down and come up with a plan. So you don't expect, Barker has already laid a roadmap, and these people have given them responsibility to perform. So they're going to measure them through those programs that the money they are giving them. So let's see what they're going to come with the borough ministers and agencies that have been given responsibility.
And
not look at them. Hold up, because we just all we're doing is we're running ahead ourselves. You know, we the expectation is so high that you just running ahead of yourself and not giving yourself chance to observe and see. Okay, we got a minister of education. They have responsibility. They're giving the money now. Now, we are Liberians, and the House and legislature and the borough political institution in the country are Liberians. Now leaders are holding their leaders accountable. This money will go on you. Look at the field school. The counties have the NASA to come out. If you have a technical school in your county, you need to start talking about it. But look in Monrovia, we have proliferation of schools in Liberia where it's all business, everybody graduating business administration for public this and that, and they got technical school. There are a lot of people who went to MVTC, went to what they call it, the trade school in Monrovia. Some of them are electricians. They don't want to work.
Wait, before I take you, Mr. Weir, right? Let me say this to Mr. Boda. Quite honestly, and let me push the argument for some Liberian that are saying that this whole thing is starting to look like a mere fiasco. It looked like you're playing.
Can you be clear? What's going to be mere fiasco?
Let me. It almost like in Liberian vernacular. It's almost like Vlad. I give you an example. This government ran a campaign to improve the agricultural sector. You allocated just 1 million to them. Now the question we are asking here before
how much was the agricultural budget before?
No, it's not the issue. It's not the issue.
No, it's the issue. How much did you have before?
Let me make my point.
But you say you didn't put no money in agriculture.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, Mr. Boda. I give you an example. Let me use this example. If you have a family back home, okay, they call you for you to send them money. Usually they will tell you what they need the money for. They don't just call you and say, "Well, give me money because I need money." Now, the point I'm making here is, how do you know how much to allocate the Ministry of Agriculture if they haven't give you a plan? The 1 billion you allocated to them, is it going to cover their plan for what they're trying to do, or the new minister you just hired for Ministry of Agriculture? What programs is he going to put in place for farmers in Liberia? That extra 1 million he had, is it going to cover all of that? What we're saying here is we understand everything's going to happen in the first 100 days. But communicate with the Liberian people. If you're sending more money to the Ministry of Education, let the Minister of Education come out and say, this is the new plan we have in place. Maybe we're making public school free. But you can't just allocate money to that ministry and nobody have any idea what the new plan the ministry is going to put in place. That's what we're saying. Communicate these things with the Liberian people. The new Minister of Education say, oh, the public school is going to be free. or they're going to have tuition reduction. None of that is being communicated to the Liberian people. We just come with a big budget and money being sent to Ministry of Education, money being sent to the Health Ministry. For what? You can't answer that for the Liberian people.
To improve education.
How are you improving education?
So that is why now you got the technocrat who are in the very ministry agency now scrapping the program to be able to monitor the programs.
So what if
that's why I say you have to give the people the opportunity to do their work.
What if
you just throwing money to a government and they put out a budget and you asking what they want to? They told you the education system is down. They want to improve education. That's why they increase the budget in education. Agriculture, they did the same. The University of Liberia, the same problem. So what are you talking about? You already know, and they're giving you money to be able to sustain no problems.
Let me not keep Mr. Boy and Mr. Weir waiting. Mr. Weir, give us your contribution.
Okay, so well, Mr. Buddha, the point is even here. If you were living in a community here, sometimes here in America, we say there is some money. When there's a problem, maybe the governor will say, or the commissioner will say, well, we are adding the tax on the cigarette to take care of the rule or whatsoever. But what I'm talking about here is specifics. What I'm talking about the target projects. I don't have problem that we got problem with our educational system. These problems need to be identified, and how are they going to be taken care of? That's the kind of communication we're talking about here. Well, if we project, it should include what actually we need to fix the problem at a certain level. This is why we need to fix the problem at this level. But we don't have that now. Here is what we have, and this is how we're going to start. That is expectation. So that if you tell the Liberian people what you're going to do, how long are you going to take for them to internalize what you are talking about, because to talk things in abstract is what I'm talking about here. I want for things to be concrete. If you say this thing, it should be concrete. People should know it. I'm not saying it should happen right now. We are being saying.
Well, listen, we are.
No.
Let me finish.
Let's pretend, Mr. We are.
I'm talking about things being concrete. I'm not saying there is something wrong with announcing the budget. My only thing that I need is, for example, it is good that we increase the education system or the budget, but whoever in charge should explain why you think we should increase the budget of the education.
Right.
What is our failure educationally? Where are the problem lies? And specifically, what are we going to take on? Because realistically, Liberia is poor, as we all said. No money now to take care of education, to bring Liberia to the level of other countries. So where is our failure? Is this from the kindergarten? I see that in Liberia, it's necessary for first grade and the third grade, 6th grade, 9th grade to take national exam. All the listen to what I'm talking about. I personally got a problem with that. Where are we failing? And what are we going to take on? How are we going to deal with that? That's my question. No,
I just want to say something to you, Mr. Weir. Thank you very much. That's why the Liberian people elected their representatives. And the national legislature debate the budget. What you are asking, those questions will be addressed, those concerns will be raised by the national legislature, and the explanation will be given. There's no government in the world that have to come to its people and explain on a macro basis. We're going to be okay. We'll put 50,000 in the budget. We're going to spend it as far as it's meeting. It is if you think that during the budget process, people go, journalists go, stakeholders go to the legislature and they ask questions, and the ministry.
No, I disagree. Let me give you an example. Here in the America, Biden talk about bridges. They're breaking bridges. That was a campaign, but he carried that campaign to Congress to pass it. He knew the bridges are problem. Many things are crumbling in the United States. That's the function of the executive branch of government. The executive branch of the government is the implementer. It sees what's happening. It only asks for money from the lawmaker.
Let me come in there. Let me come in there,
Mr. Weir.
Yes.
Let me tell him, be honest with you. The way you say you love Liberia, there are people that love Liberia as well. The budget that was proposed by this government, there are people in Liberia, economists, experts who have looked at the budget, they have analyzed the detail, and they have applauded the government. Now, the information you need, we are not even gone 1 week into this issue. You want the government to do what? To go back and start spending on micro business? Watch. It don't happen that way. It don't happen that way.
Bishop Hagar. Yes, it is. I think it's just a tiny. Because I don't think you're understanding Mr. Weir. I honestly don't think you are. And Mr. Weir, correct me if I'm wrong. What he's asking is for this administration to have studied the problems before proposing a solution.
Yes, that's the point. That's the point I'm making.
I gave you an example. I gave you an example.
Jerry, why you say that?
No, Bishop Hagar. Let me give you an example. Let me use the University of Liberia from $30 million to $32 million. What is the extra $2 million for? What problems in the UL that you have studied and say, you know what, we get extra $2 million to solve that problem. Here is the solution. I think that's what Mr. Jawin.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
You order people that explanation because guess what? They're the one hire you. That is not the job of the representative or senators. They hire the executive branch and they
Derek, look. Let me disagree with you and Jawin 100% on that issue.
Let's say to disagree.
What you're saying it made no sense at all. You telling me that they just put money in the budget because they don't know what the problem is? Is that what you're saying?
No,
no, it's not what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying.
Okay, wait. Let me bring it back on here again. For climate change, the proposed budget here in the United States, the campaign that for climate change we are doing this. That's what I'm talking about. These things are very specific. They are very specific.
That bro, educational system, all of our sectors are being degraded. You know that education system.
My point is, how do you start to make it better?
I understand from we are.
Forget about the money.
I
think about ideas.
We are
one way. Hold on, Bishop.
This is not an argument, man.
People are looking at us. Listen to me, Mr. Weir. Mr. Weir.
This is not an economic argument.
Mr. Weir.
I'm hearing you.
Have you read the entire budget?
No, he don't have a problem with the budget.
That's
I'm just asking, have you read it?
Over 500 pages.
It made no sense at all. Made no sense.
How you say it made no sense?
I think
because they put a lot of money in education.
Okay, wait a minute. If I get my house now, if the house is draining, turning on with the house, I gotta know what's happening to the house before I pass the budget, before I say go do the house. But what I'm saying is that we all agree that our educational system it's not.
So what do you agree on? If we all agree, what do you agree on?
But my point is, on this administration, what did they find out? What make it to be what it is, and how are we going to start fixing it? So what I'm saying is this: if they say, look, this is why we're wrong with our educational system, so we're increasing this budget to take on this specific problem, the root cause of this. That's what I'm talking about here. What is the root cause?
We know the facts. We know the school and University of Liberia lacks facility. The facilities are deplorable. Okay? Teachers are not getting paid. No books. No, all these things are there. Numerous things that we know face the University of Liberia.
Yes, Mr. Poda.
How much million you had before?
No, but what I'm saying, 2 million. That's why I was saying that But my point here is this: look, we got a problem.
You have $30 million. Now we give you even $1 million or $2 million. Now we need to see where we can put money now.
I think they understand your point. The issue here is what they're running away from is because this administration did no study on the problems. All they did was just distribute money around. Can $2 million solve the problem? No, the man he asked a valid question.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
You say, get over there and say, look, we're $2 million. Here is the problem with the University of Liberia. Here is how much it will cost to fix it to bring it to the level. But because we just get the power, we're gonna start from this point with this amount. That's what I mean. That's exactly my point.
Mr. Boda, let me give you an example. Mr. Boda.
Oh, man, can we go to something else, man? You guys don't waste any time for nothing, man.
We'll bring this back. Let me use another example. Maybe it will help us understand this point. I'll use the COVID pandemic. Okay, for Americans to get vaccines, or for people in America to get vaccines, you think the government of America and just say, "Oh, they put $50 million in the budget for it to distribute vaccines," or that institution will have to do a study to know how much the vaccine will cost? I think that is where the problem is coming from. The University of Liberia, we all know there's an issue with our educational sector. But the concern here is that you go and study the problem to come out and say, "Oh, we found a solution." The Ministry of Education, that you go in that sector. Let's use the health sector, that you go in that sector and study the problem and say, "Oh, we have a solution, and it will cost an extra $5 million to the budget," before you actually added that into the budget. Or you just how did you get the extra $2 million from the
It's a disservice on your part, Derek, to even insinuate that people just wake up and just throw money.
And just throw money in the budget because
our budgets are created.
I will hope it's not an insinuation.
I hope. Follow the idea of cutting. To cut this the wasted.
Come on,
listen.
You make budget your personal budget. Do you just get out one day and say, you just make budget? You don't know what you're making the budget for.
So the budget is for us. It's for
no. I'm asking you. Do you do that as a president? You as an individual? Do you do that in your own personal life?
No. But
you just get out and do something that you don't know what you're going to do with that money, or what you get the budget for.
Mr. Boda.
That's what you're saying?
No, that's not what we're saying.
That's what you're saying.
You're answering the question. You're answering the question.
You got one and make budget.
No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that.
Can we go for a break?
Okay. I think so, man. We need break.
Yeah, we'll take a break.
I'm telling you realistically.
I think
can we go for a break? A time off.
Okay.
Guys, if you're watching us, this is the hard zone. That's what we're doing here.
You're not putting emotion and feeling this thing, man. Don't look at it holistically, man.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into more discussions. But for now, we'll talk to you after the break.
Thank you.
Oh, God.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Jilipa Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to go to start life in this great your country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop. Car rental, as you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
Attention all organizations, NGOs, and social clubs in and out of Liberia. Are you tired of relying solely on social media to run your operations? An effective web platform is your most important marketing tool, and that's where Tiamat.com comes in. Hello, my Liberian people. My name is Sophia, and I want you to consider this. 53% of consumers do online research about an organization before talking to someone from that institution. That means not having a website could be costing you opportunities. Step up your game and establish a professional online presence. Introducing our web platform designed specifically for 501c organizations, small businesses, and political organizations, social clubs, etc. At Tiamat.com, we understand how important it is to make a great digital first impression, which is why we offer you all the help needed to develop, maintain, and host NGOs and small and big organization websites by giving you a full suite of services that includes automatic billing for members, membership and visitor portals, first-class design and functionality, and much more. The best part is, it only costs $20 per month. Upgrade your image today with our customized web design services. Visit www.tiamat.com to get started. This is a Liberian-owned business.
Derek. Oh, David gone?
They left. That made David tired. You Derek got David gotta go to bed.
When are we closing?
I don't know yet, but you guys, I don't know what I want Boga to do. Yeah. You gotta relax your mind, brother.
Well, I'm not saying anything against Braga though. I'm talking about, it's like I think that doing the thing the same way will not make it right. At least we want for things to work well and the Liberian people to know in a way that, so that when somebody say, oh, when you say, look, the message you are going to do this, because how do you mention progress if you don't identify why you going to do specifically? I gave you the money to do what? That's what I mean. Because when you mention progress, which problem did you take on? That's what about. That's what I think about. I don't have problem
how
with
we measure progress is the money we give you is to improve education.
No,
right?
I agree.
Hold on.
Specifically,
what? Let me finish. The educational sector have problems that needs to be addressed by the professional educators who now will look at our various curriculum in our various schools, high school, university, and so forth. The
Why wrong with
challenges
that?
faced. The challenge
what
you
is
face.
wrong? What is wrong with our system? That's why I want to know what is wrong with our system.
The system is not functioning.
How?
You know, say, then you say, what's wrong with the system? Is it you don't know?
Mr. Boda.
I don't know what you're talking about. What is wrong with our system? If they say they put money somewhere and there's no problem there, then you say, what is wrong with our system?
Mr. Boda.
What is our one way?
We got numerous primary education.
For example, you can say, you know, compared to Sierra Leone, this has been done in education today, and we don't have it in Liberia. This is how we're going to. That's what I'm talking about.
John Wigan, first and foremost, you have training problem. Training of our teachers.
Is that what the ministry?
No. I'm just giving you problems that we have.
Okay, getting my point
now.
now.
That you don't know what problem in the educational sector.
No,
those are one of the major problems. Training of teachers.
Mr. Boda.
Okay.
Mr.
The infrastructure.
Mr. Boda.
So there's no problem government trying to address. Then you say,
but
they
again,
didn't give you laundry list before.
Mr. Boda, the people that are pushing that argument, they are even doing the government a favor, because guess what? If next election you want to measure your progress, that's how you do it. If you want to measure your progress you've made, that's how you do it. Again, let me say this. It almost seems like, Mr. Boda, you're fooling the Liberian people. That's what it almost seems like. It almost seems like the United Party administration fooling the Liberian people, because you cannot come up with a budget and say, oh, we're going to get this ministry $2 million in addition to what they already had. And this ministry have not even come up with a plan. If they have not even come up with anything to say, oh, we need additional X, Y, and Z amount to help us solve this problem within this sector. And you just send money over there, and the Liberian people should not even ask you why you send this amount to that sector. And more besides, they may run on the arrest, or he ran on here in agriculture. So we're saying we just $1 million short to solve our problems in agriculture in Liberia. You're going to add $1 million to the budget. What is that extra $1 million for? Are they going to have programs for farmers to get free tools to make more things in Liberia? None of those things are explained to the Liberian people. Ministry of Education, the health sector. Ministry of Education in the health sector, Mr. Boda, what we are saying here is very simple. You're saying the same thing. Okay? You cannot just give money to somebody and say, oh, we're having problem in this sector. We know we're having problem. Okay, I will send $5 million there, and then tell us what you're going to do with it. That's not how it's supposed to work. That's working backwards. So let that minister, let me finish. Let that minister say to you, Mr. President, oh, we have a problem in this sector. This is the problem, and this is what we suggest will solve this problem, or at least eliminate some of these problems. And this is how much it is going to cost us. Then you can allocate that money to the ministry, and then you can explain to the Liberian people. And like you said, maybe you say, oh, the Ministry of Education having problems, so most of our instructors are not trained. It is going to cost us this amount to train our instructor, and it will solve the educational problem we're having. Then you can send that money to the Ministry of Education and tell the Liberian people, say, the new minister we put in just said X, Y, and Z amount it will cost us to train teachers, and this will solve our education.
It doesn't work like that. So this is the problem you're having. Before the budget was driven or drafted, whatever consultation was made, every agency of government had input in that budget. The budget was not just driven overnight by Bwaka and one or two persons just started and say, oh, hey, we're putting $1 million into education. Hold up. You know, I know, if you have an organization and you got various heads of the organization, and before you spend money or you're having a program, you go to the social committee, you go to this committee, you go to other different committees and ask them what they need, what they do, this. There was a consultation made by the various agencies and ministries. So they were able to say, look, we need to start up for a startup, we need to say we have $2 million in our original need $200, we need additional $1 million to add up to what we have to brothers some of the things that we need to do. So that's why you see the incremental in the bureau agency. They didn't just come from overnight, Saturday night, like, oh, yeah, Mr. Boga just like here, living room because it's Mr. Arrest.
It's
Yeah.
not.
I
It's
put
not.
$1 million
It's
to
not.
the Minister of Education.
No, no,
Hold
no,
on,
no, no,
hold on, hold on, hold on. That's why that's the kind of that
no,
what you
no, no,
insinuated. Yeah.
no, no,
They
no.
just they just what they add $1 million. You think the Minister of Education, the Minister of Health don't know what they need money for in our budget? The Minister of Agriculture don't know what they need money for. So these things are all allotted based on concentration.
Mr. Boda, hold on.
So we can't be asking the kind of question.
Mr. Boda, hold on. Here, you know about the POK, what they call POK project here, right? Where we are, you and myself.
Stop.
No. I'm saying something. No. Because there's a budget in budget. That's what I'm talking about now. Because we all know there is no money right now for the government to face the.
So why are you measuring the budget here with our budget?
I'm talking about system. No, I'm talking about system.
Why are you even measuring the system here with your system?
Because we are the same. We are human beings.
No, you. It's not
it's almost the same format. He's talking
it's not
about
measurable.
Like my format. We are human beings.
It's not measurable.
No,
you cannot measure the United budget.
Hold on.
With the LeBron budget process, it's not measurable.
Okay, let me use
African. Every state here has run their own affairs.
Okay, like a South Africa.
Every state in this country run. How many countries run their own affairs?
Okay, let me use African country, South Africa. I think they use 18% of their budget for education. But here is my point. Here is my point that I'm making. I'll make it clear again. I understand. I applaud the government for the cuts. I do agree. But in order for it to work, in order for the Nigerians to understand the purpose of this budget and how it's going to be useful, you need to explain to them in the concrete terms what wrong with our educational system and what it needs to fix it. However, you don't have all that money to fix the problem, so we're going to start with this one. Because of this, because of the starting point, you are making this money available. That the Nigerian people would internalize, they will understand it. Then they will see after a certain time, they will say, oh, the money you said we're going to go towards it. That's what I'm talking about. Proper measuring program. Because but if you generalize it like that, if you just say educational student, where? That's what I'm talking about here. I know we do not have money. But where the problem is, this is our problem. This is our problem. This is how much it will cost. But we don't have the money right now. Between you and me, if they were to do that, because that's the only thing you will even do to even ask for help. Between you and me, if we know what they are doing, both them when they ask you and me if we can contribute $20 every month, we can do it. But we want to know what the money is used for.
I'm not going to bring $20. That is not what I will. I'm not in that business with you. What I want to tell you, everything the LeBron people. I don't think LeBron people are crying because they put $1 million in the agriculture budget. The expectation, these people, the thing that they're going to create a magical fee where the job is not flowing, money flowing in the economy.
I think what I'm telling you,
it's not going to happen. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have job right now for the next 2-3 years. The job market is going to be tight and tighter and tighter.
It's not about, you see, I'm talking about job.
Mr. Boda, before I ask you guys for your closing remarks on this episode, I'll just say this much. I know you've pushed for transparency in government, and I know one of the things you talked about in the previous administration is how they have budget too, but no one could explain why they had the budget they had, why Ministry of Education were getting the money they were getting. There was no explanation for it. And now this new administration, no matter how you want to spin this, I'm very sure you will agree that if you're giving Ministry of Education $30 million, the Liberian people deserve to know how they are using that $30 million. I understand you said all of the ministries had an input, but the Liberian people needs to know what were their inputs, how they intend to use the money that was sent to them. The Ministry of Agriculture, $5 million, they have to tell the Liberian people, are they going to implement new programs? Let these people know about it. That's why they elected these government officials for. The president, let him have his cabinet ministers tell the Liberian people why they are getting those money. Liberian people did not get that in the previous administration. He said it's not going to be business as usual. He came to rescue the Liberian people. I don't think it's asking a whole lot of this president or this administration to tell the Liberian people why $30 million out of their money going to a certain sector, why $5 million out of their money going to a specific sector, they should tell the Liberian people how they intend to solve their problems. That's what we're asking for. I'm very sure that you will agree. I'm very sure that you will agree that is not too much, and that we're not asking too much of this administration. With that being said, thank you guys for joining us tonight. I will now go to the panelists, give them a minute and 30 seconds so they can give us their closing remark on this episode. And please join us next week Thursday, same time, right here on the Liberian Radio and Television Network. Let's start with you, Mr. Boda. 1 minute, 30 seconds. Give us your closing remark. Thank you for joining us on this episode.
I want to thank the Liberian people who are listening to us tonight and hearing the conversation. I know they have taken part, and I wanted to understand that the Boga-led government is here to rescue our nation from all of the mismanagement that we have had in the past. Try to put on a new path that will change our country and make better Liberian citizens. So I know it's difficult for you to understand some of the bureaucracy or some of the budgetary allotment how it's being made. But I want you to understand that budget are meant to is based on projection. And no projection comes with discussion with various agencies, stakeholders that are responsible to make those decisions. So bear in mind that there is time. You got 3 months that we're just discussing budget. So give her another 3 months, and then you start asking questions. The budget is passed, and then let it tell you revenue that have been raised, because the money is not sitting there as proposing a budget. So I ask them to be patient, and your future will be better, and things are getting better.
Hopefully that will happen in the next 6 years, but we're waiting to see. But anyways, thank you so much for your contribution tonight. Let's hear from you now, Mr. Jawinkin Weir.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Fellow Liberians, we just elected a new government because of our situation. Since this country, we have been looking forward to a transparent government. What we need is the Liberian government, current government of Buakai, to tell us why is it that there's a problem in the country. We all know there is a problem, but what is that? That's what people elect government for. We do not expect this government to do things overnight, but all we ask for is tell us the problem, how are you going to take care of that, and how are we going to know that, yeah, this is being done? How do we internalize that? So if those in the government listening to me, I would like to say thank you for reducing the spending. However, the Liberian people clearly need to know, sincerely need to know that the cut you are making, what are the problems they're going to take on, and how are we going to internalize the process to go along with you, to understand it, to see it, to visualize it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin Weir, Mr. Boda, and Bishop Hager, who was here earlier, and also to can't wait. Thank you to all of you for your contribution tonight, all of you esteemed panelists, and for those of you watching us. Again, we'll be here next week on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, do have yourself a pleasant good evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, boy.
What are we in the door?
All right.
Show you class. like her bestie. She show you her boyfriend. You eating her food, you eating her juice, you do a go crazy. Grandma, looking at them, we have a show in favor. Alright.